And a very good evening to you and welcome once again to Beyond Gardens live from the studios of Channel 44 WTV in Perth. In the studio tonight, it's my pleasure to be joined by Gary Heddy and a new face, I think, for Beyond Gardens Live, Alison Dawn.
Hi, John.
Well, welcome, Alison, particularly. Now, since you're the new kid on the block, as it were, you'd better give us a potted history, if you wouldn't mind, of Alison Dawn.
Before you start yawning. Well, I won't say I've done a bit of everything, but I've done a little bit of a few things. A little bit of media, a little bit of nature tourism, horticulture and sustainability. And it's in the areas of sustainability and horticulture, the blend of the two, that I'm really passionate about.
And a great fit for the Beyond Gardens team. So
thank you.
We're delighted to have you. Now, just recently you've been mucking around a bit too, haven't you? But before we do that, perhaps we'd better tell you how you get in touch with us, because this is live. Well, as long as you're watching it on the 18th of September 2013, let's get that quite clear.
Yeah.
We're live right now, if that's the time. It's an interesting program because it requires a lot of technical input, and you'll see a fair bit of gizmos, a fair few gizmos lying around the place, but also what you can't see is a lot of people behind the cameras and everything else. But it all comes together, and it's thanks to our sponsor for this series, which is the Water Corporation, and we're grateful for their support. Now, how do you take advantage of our presence here in the studio? Very simple indeed.
Now, as long as it's the 18th, please, if it's a weekend, please, you cannot ring in, because basically we came and got the time to ring you back. You can give us a call.
And we won't be live then.
We won't be live anyway,
live
so
now.
we'll be at home somewhere.
We'll be live then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can give us a call on 64685994, and please make sure you turn your TV down when you ring, because there will be feedback if you do.
There will be serious feedback. That's one way you can get in touch with us. Another way is just as fast and potentially more enriching.
Yes, alternatively, you can email us at tv@beyondgardens.com.au. If you're going to use this method, if you could attach some photos, that would be great, because a photo is worth 1,000 words.
And
it
more.
will allow us to answer your question a lot well, hopefully a lot more easily, and it'll be a little bit more entertaining for other people watching.
So, pictures please, phone calls please, and we will do our level best. As we say, our skilled operators are sitting here in the studio awaiting your call right now. Now, let's just, before we go into some of the emails that have accumulated since the last time we were together, let's just go back to a previous series of the program where we showed you volunteers planting tulips at Araluen. Well, at the end of last week, I went out to see the results of all their hard work. And yes, they are very specky, aren't they? But look, if you're thinking of going out, and a reminder today is the 18th, yeah, I'd encourage you to do so, but I think you've only got 3 or 4 days, really, up till this weekend, maybe, for the best of the tulips, because the wet weather is playing havoc with them, and they have looked good for a while now. But nonetheless, still well worth a visit. And on the subject of worth a visit, there's an awful lot going on the garden scene, of course, during spring, but there's probably no place busier than Kings Park with its Wildflower Festival. Well worth Googling Kings Park Festival to seeing what's on. Stack of events going on right through until the end of the month. All right, that's all around us, but with us right now, we have our first caller for the program. Good evening. Welcome to Beyond Gardens Live.
Hello.
Hello.
It's Camillo from Carina.
Yes, Kamala.
Just wondering the best way to deal with slaters in the garden.
Slaters.
Am I missing this?
Best way to deal with slaters in the garden, I believe.
Oh, we have a slater specialist on the panel.
Yeah, he was going to throw this on to me, because I'm actually one of the rare people in WA that actually like slaters, because I've actually learnt to work with them. They're an interesting creature. They're actually a crustacean, so they're not an insect. They're related to prawns, and they're actually interested in fungi. So a byproduct of their hunt for fungi is they often ringbark your seedlings. So what I've actually done at my garden is, when I'm putting a seedling in, which is the most desperate time to protect them, I put a little pot around them and actually feed them food scraps. And you'll find that will draw them away, and that'll give you an element of protection until the stems start hardening up on your seedlings.
Yeah, well, case in point, if you've ever wondered what you're supposed to do with all those milk cartons, you know, the 2-litre milk things, top and bottom off, look, little collar around it, go away slaters. And once a plant's grown up a bit, or matured a bit, hardened a bit, they're not worried about slaters too much, are they? Mostly.
Well, as you're probably guessing, I'm the crackpot of the group, and I had a problem with slaters on my passion fruit. They would get up and ringbark the passion fruit. So I actually did a little evolutionary experiment where only the slaters that were actually ringbarking the passion fruit would be taken off and fed to the chooks. And over time, the ones that like passion fruit stopped breeding. So we end up with slaters that never were interested in passion fruit and just stuck to the fungi. So that's 9 years ago now, and I still haven't had a problem on my passion fruit since.
As we've said before, the only person we know, Carmelo, with a stud farm for slaters. It's a bit of a brother, isn't it? Look, the one... Yeah, there's one important point about slaters, though, and that is that, yes, you can buy baits that you spread all around the garden, but quite frankly, the concept of spreading poison all around the garden is not a good one. It's not a good one. You're much better off with slaters than with the poison. Yeah.
And the other one that really annoys people is slaters in your pot plants. So one of the easy things there is to put a little bit of fly wire in the holes, and that stops the slaters from coming up into your pot plants and doing that little digging out trick that they can often get up to.
Yeah, I mean, look, case in point in the picture here, where the bottom of the pot has been just, that's inverted, obviously, but you can see all the soil that's gone, and that's due to slaters, and they'll eat the roots as well. Yeah, fly wire, neat trick. Okay, Carmelo, thanks for the call.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, and we have a queue, it looks like, at the garden gate, so we have another caller waiting to talk to us. Hello and welcome.
Hello, how you going?
We're going well, thank you.
I'm having trouble with my orange tree. It's the Eureka, the orange, that orange, what's the name of the navel orange.
Yes. And what's
the actual flowers have gone brown.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay.
Ooh.
And the leaves, there's still one white flower there, but the rest of them have gone brown, and the leaves have started to fall too.
Is your tree in a pot or in the ground?
Yes, it's in the pot.
Okay. I suspect that what's happened is your tree is waterlogged, I think probably you'll find that the drainage holes are blocked. Is that
that was my
that and maybe fertiliser. So get a sharp knife and sort of just tilt the pot a bit till you can get to the bottom and just cut roots around whatever's blocking the drainage hole. I think that's the most likely issue. Touch wood, it should be okay. It'll come back, but don't chuck a lot of fertiliser at it.
The fertiliser does damage to the trees. Actually, if you give it too much, its leaves start to fall.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's very common. We strike it a bit at this time of year because people are encouraged to fertilise. There's all this growth in spring, but we've also got this awful philosophy: if a little's good, a lot must be better. So some people read the instructions and then double it.
I've got other trouble with them. What do I do with mould, like those mould crickets? What do I do with them in the ground, disturbing the plants? Should I kill them or leave them?
I know mould crickets, if you can control them, do so, because they can cause a lot of damage.
So, once again, I'm one of these people who've got the mould crickets in the garden, because of course you hear them chirping like a frog. The issue there is that you've got to get them out of the ground, and the easiest way to do that is to get a little bit of wetting agent in water and actually tip it onto the spot where you can hear them, and they have to come out or they drown. So then you can put them in a bucket and do whatever you like with them.
Yeah, catch
Kill them?
Kill them.
Well, they're fairly big. I suppose if you get enough and you have an interesting recipe, you could make an omelette. That's what one looks like.
Oh, yeah, they're very unappealing.
Well, not if you're a mole cricket. That's probably looks
That's why he's chirping.
Yeah. Knock them off. Knock them off.
Yeah, they'll do damage to your root system.
They will.
And the one played havoc with a mango of mine in the very early stages.
I must follow it up. I'm led to believe there is a new species of mole cricket, an introduced one rather than the West Australian one that's probably the major cause of problems at the moment. But okay, thank you for your call.
Thanks for that.
Okay, it's our pleasure.
Hey, it's really building up, John, because we've got another call.
We've got another call, okay, and we will get some emails in a moment, I think. Hello, welcome to our garden.
Hello, this is Sterling. We've got a camellia that has been 2 and 3 metres high, it's grown well, but can we trim it down, and will it affect it?
Quite simple answer. Go to with a chainsaw. I've seen some terrible things done to camellias. Not that I recommend it, but if they're well established, I've seen camellias taken down to the ground with a trunk that would be that thick, taken down to the ground and come away. But I wouldn't recommend going that far. But yes, and it's a good time to do it. Well, ideally, perhaps a month ago might have been better. This is the flush growth time for camellias. Don't be afraid.
Okay.
Difficult to knock them off.
Thank you very much for that.
Okay.
I love your program.
Okay, thank you.
That's all.
Yeah, I've seen some terrors. Okay, now.
Let's have an email.
Okay, so
Emails.
to an email, right.
We better do an email or two.
Okay.
Yes, what have you
So,
got?
hello, my name is Julie Bennett. I had the privilege of going to a Beyond Gardens talk at the Stirling Council location. My daughter's pre-primary teacher is looking to put in a garden area with a focus on student involvement, recycling and being water-wise. Would you possibly be able to help advise the best way to go about that? It's a small plot of land with good sun, but other than that, we're starting with nothing.
Yes, and we have got a picture. It's not the clearest picture in the world, but we'll try and get it up. There it is. What would one say? It has potential?
Well, it has potential. If it's got good sun, as long as it hasn't... I mean, ideally you would like some shade during the main midday sun part of the day and for the first couple of hours afterwards, because our summers are so super hot, aren't they? Even though depending on if you're planting from seed or seedling, the instructions often say to plant in full sun, but that's often instructions that are applicable to the East Coast, where it's a little bit softer sun than what we've got here. If that's a full sun spot during the midday part of the day, one thing you could do is think about erecting some shade once it comes to summer. Obviously it's got grass on it, so you'll need to get rid of the grass and get the soil going, basically.
Yep.
Get some life into the soil.
And with a school, it's not a bad idea with the school to actually maybe, we're not desperately keen on raised garden beds, but hang on, let me get in a quick advert for, my arrow keeps disappearing. I'll complain about things. Okay, here it comes. Not a bad idea to have something to delineate the garden beds because of the kids and the need to keep the classrooms clean. So this is a low one. Now it could be timber. There's nothing special about steel. Could be timber, could be whatever you can lay your hands on.
Well, if the kids are keen to introduce recycling and reusing, then you could look at finding some recycled materials to divide the garden beds.
There's a heap there, but what I think we do a series of workshops, and one of the things we do touch on is starting garden beds, and we also do visit community gardens from time to time. We also visit schools from time to time. But I think the important thing is to, dare I summarise it this, if you're the teacher in charge, keep your head screwed on. Don't go fall for all the fancy stuff, because you'll end up spending your whole budget and you still won't have a garden.
I've seen some extremes, say Walloona, for instance. How many did they have?
Oh, I shudder to think how much vegetables cost in the school garden. I think probably about $400 a tomato, I would say. Yeah.
If you have to spend money, if you have to spend money, please go in and watch other shows, but make sure you've got your manure meter on.
Okay. No, we could talk about this all program, but we shouldn't.
And the other one I wanted to mention with that last photo is that it's drip irrigation. Sprinkler irrigation is a gone for veggie gardens these days, because A, you lose far too much water, and B, you end up with fungal disease problems. So, and then obviously a good mulch over top of it.
Yes. And a good mulch being a nice coarse mulch, as opposed to what's often put in school veggie gardens, which is
I think we might see that a little bit later on.
We might actually see that a bit later on, I think.
Yeah, but just, and I know it looks strange, but this sort of mulch is what we're talking about. And we'll explain that a little bit later on.
Yes.
Okay, now.
We've actually got another call, John.
Got another call? Okay, all right, let's do the call. Then we'll do an email, in fairness to our emailers. Is that a good word? It is now. Hello, welcome to the program.
Hello, Brian from Marmion.
Good day, Brian.
Yeah, we've got a problem with those little millipedes. They're all in the garden, come into the house and everything. I just wanted a good way to get rid of them.
Ooh, yes. We're talking about the Portuguese millipedes.
They are everywhere.
They are everywhere. They are. I wonder if no, I can't do that. Sorry, I'm thinking out aloud.
Well, the interesting thing about Portuguese millipede is that they're spreading around generally with pot plants as people move into districts.
Oh, any soil, anything like that?
Any soil, anything like that. They get into an area and then lock in. And the reason I'm mentioning it now is that where I live, near the beach, they have arrived. And for the first time I'm squishing them as I walk on the footpath now. So this is a real problem. As new people come into the area, they bring in all these pests.
And to be fair, not just pots, they can come in furniture and anything, because they just crawl in, they get around, they're very good. They started some time ago in the hills. It's claimed that rolling stone was the source of infestation, but I don't want to bad name rolling stone. And they move around. Now, the interesting part is that we have experienced when you go through a cycle with these things. I should explain that picture. Is the picture we've had up there is not actually the Portuguese millipedes, but those are native millipedes. But if we need to blow the picture up, the top one there, the red one, that's a native centipede actually, is eating a millipede. So we know that's one of the controls. All right.
What would you rather have, millipedes or centipedes?
Yeah. Oh no, centipedes are much nicer. But these are the fellas we're talking about, and so they go through a cycle. When they first come in, you have a few years of, if not hell, purgatory anyway, because they come in and they breed up very rapidly in large numbers. They just feed on organic matter, almost anything will do. They don't actually cause any harm, but they're a major nuisance. and particularly climbing walls, and they're attracted to light. So one of the things you do is to turn off the lights that are attracting them and turn on a light, if necessary, install a light out in the garden, which will draw them there at night rather than into the house. So a little bit of reverse psychology, but then something gets on top of them. It doesn't eliminate them, but something is controlling them. We know there is a thing called a slimy planetid. I wonder if I can find a picture of that, because, God, it's a great, great beastie. Hang on. That's one. No, nothing coming up. Okay.
I tell you, one good thing.
And the other thing is nematodes. It's believed that nematodes, the native nematodes, are now knocking them off and bringing them under control.
And anyone who's got a swimming pool with a swimming pool light will know that it's very, very good attracting, because you're constantly having to clean them out of the pool. So,
that's a good idea.
So we've tried it.
Down the back.
We've tried a number of times where we've put out a pond with a light in the middle, and they're drawn to the light. But the trick is you have to sort of treat your house like the Blitz. You've got to close off the lights so they're not conflicted to which light they're going to go to. And then you'll be amazed how many you end up with that morning.
Okay.
All right.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So in the end, I don't know how many years, but you can probably look forward to a few years of them in large numbers, and then they'll gradually diminish. They won't go, but we're at the stage now at our place where, yes, they are around, but are they in plague proportions? No. Very manageable, easy.
And what the important thing John did was he didn't use chemicals. The moment you start sprinkling around pesticides and whatever, you end up knocking off the predators as well. So,
well, you never know what else you're going to kill.
You'll kill all the good guys as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, thanks very much for that.
Okay. Now, this is one of the longest searches I've been conducting, and I haven't come up with a slimy planetid yet.
Well, maybe next time.
Maybe I'll get one before the end of the program.
So how was that, Brian? Okay?
Yeah, I think Brian's
I
got
think
it.
Brian's got it?
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
Well, maybe we can remind people that the phone number.
You can do the same. Indeed,
So
there it is, on the bottom of the screen right now.
You can see the phone number there.
Yeah, go on.
So 64685994, and don't forget to turn your TV down when you're ringing in.
Okay.
So
And
shall we,
email.
another email?
Yeah,
Okay.
but let's do an email.
Yeah, and the email address again is tv@beyondgardens.com.au. So we have an email here. My wife and I saw your TV show and liked the concept. Therefore, hope you may be able to help us with a problem we are having with grevilleas in our new garden.
All right.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
It does. Works all the time.
We've not long built a new house in Baldivis and have planted numerous natives in the garden areas. We spread about 70 millimetres of landscape mix over the whole area prior to planting and used soil conditioner in the hole with each plant. All other plants have responded well to this treatment. The grevilleas have been in the ground for about 4 months, but so far we have lost 3 out of 7. The leaves of which are starting to brown off and the plants eventually die. Our understanding is that it's a fungus and we've sprayed them with mancozeb with little result.
Well, unfortunately, it might not have done them any good. It's a job to tell, but my suspicion would be that they've improved the soil too much for the grevilleas.
Yeah.
So what have they done? Landscape mix, which has got a fair bit of organic matter in it.
Yes, landscape mix and
then in
soil
the hole,
conditioner as well.
Soil conditioner, which is probably compost and animal manure.
Yeah.
The grevilleas, like many of the proteaceous families, so we're talking grevilleas, hakeas, banksias would be the most commonly known ones, have a very efficient root system. This is a picture of one floating in water done by Kingsley Dixon at Kings Park. Created this, and it's a wonderful example. What you can't see is this is an incredibly well-adapted root system, and what its purpose in life is to extract phosphorus, which is deficient in all our soils, naturally deficient. So this is how the plant gets around it, by building this super sucker extraction device. The moment you put a reasonable amount of phosphorus into the soil, which will come out of those products, the plant is swamped. It's gone.
Yeah.
So the best thing you can do when you're planting grevilleas is maybe a bit of old compost. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I suspect, would be the cause. I'm sorry. Yeah. Killing them with kindness, it's called.
So I don't know about you, but I need a coffee break, so we're going to throw to a break.